NCTC professor Gabrielle Fletcher became concerned about the history and preservation of the Medal of Honor host city program, Ephemera and Documents, after attending a National Endowment of Humanities course in 2015 on archival research. She felt that creating mini museum displays on our recipients would be a good start. As with preserving anything historical, the sooner one starts, the better. She started this process wholeheartedly in the 2017-2018 school year. For the 2022 project, Fletcher gave her students the challenge of telling the recipients' life stories. This required excellent research skills and deep critical thinking. She scaffolded their projects by having them study the Medal of Honor Character Development Program's 6 core values and lecturing on the history of the Medal of Honor. The class took a trip to the Morton Museum, the Gainesville Civic Center, and finally the Gainesville Medal of Honor Park. While at the museum, Kathy Farquhar, the director of the Morton Museum, explained how she and her staff create museum-quality displays. From there, students saw some of the objects that had been donated to the program. Because of Professor Fletcher's knowledge of the program and the objects, she was able to narrate some of the information. This showed the students that for one to truly understand an object, understanding context through research details and appropriate presentation is critical. The class then went to the Medal of Honor Park, where they talked about the symbolism of the monuments and the history of the names. From there, honor student Marin Myers came up with a plan of action to complete their mission. Beyond the obvious English skills, possibly more importantly, these students learned such skills as teamwork, responsibility, attention to detail, planning, and overcoming challenges, all of which will serve them well long after they leave this class. In the past, students have relied on the recipients to tell their stories. This year, they took a very different approach. Before and after the medal, a multifaceted exploration of heroes out of uniform. The class decided to have family members share the stories that demonstrate the recipient's character before and after receiving the Medal of Honor. The impetus for this came in September at the 2021 Medal of Honor host city event in Gainesville, Texas. Professor Fletcher was speaking with Tori Dole, Arthur Jackson's daughter. She told a story of her father finding a baby robin, trying to break out of its shell on the ground, abandoned. He carefully nurtured and raised this robin, Annie, and they had a very special bond. His compassion, commitment, and appreciation for life struck Fletcher as an integral part of his story. Here is a tough Marine who on September 18, 1944, performed extraordinary feats of valor. But this isn't the whole story, just, as Paul Harvey always said, the rest of the story. These stories about recipients show different perspectives and facets of their character, stories that go beyond the day of action for their medal, which will help young people truly understand who they are and were. After receiving stories from various family members, the students conducted intensive research and began piecing together a visual narrative about the recipients and their life. The works cited page for this project was 7 pages in length. The actual amount of writing involved was extensive and was revised and edited by the students to be concise and easy to read on the display tables. The class presented their project to the recipients and their families on April 21, 2022. Archival history often leaves out the personal, but by engaging in this type of oral history research that fills in the gaps of what is available from documented research, students forge a bond that allows them to connect themselves with the core values of these heroes. Jim Taylor explained this concept to the students when he shared with them that there is never a right time to do the wrong thing, but there is never a wrong time to do the right thing. As one student commented, although the Medal of Honor recipients' actions were above and beyond the ordinary, at the end of the day, they are still human, and that means I can step up and rise above and beyond too. The new Medal of Honor host city NCTC Museum is set to open in 2023. It shares the same mission that Professor Fletcher's English students have been working on since 2017, to tell the stories of ordinary people called to do the extraordinary for their country. The mission to reveal the character of these recipients is a message we as Americans need to hear and see firsthand. We are grateful to have been given the opportunity to contribute in this small way to the education of our community.